Vic Fangio is out in Mile High. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. I'm Matthew Peterson. Vic Fangio has been relieved of his duties, and he will no longer be the head coach of the Denver Broncos, which kicks off what is a fun time for any fan base, right? The search for your new leader, the search for a new head coach. The news originally came from Adam Schefter this morning. Broncos have fired Vic Fangio per a team official, and the Broncos tweeted out. So that's true. But it's going to be a fun, long process. I don't know if I should say long, but it'll be a process now for Denver to find their new head coach. But let's look at Vic Fangio's tenure in Denver and just go over the mishaps and the miscues and the missteps he had. So he finishes with a 19-30 overall record as the Broncos head coach through 3 seasons, 0 postseason appearances, never finished with an above 500 record. But I think what's going to be the damning thing on the Fangio legacy and why he was never really able to take off, he had 3 different leading passers while he was there in all 3 seasons. Year number 1, the Joe Flacco, which, by the way, feels like that was so much longer ago than it really was. But Flacco in year 1, he starts 8 games, and they go to Drew Lock. Then last year with Drew Lock, but he wasn't able to play all 16. And then this year with Bridgewater, those 3 different leading passers in all 3 different seasons. It is very difficult to have success in the NFL if you don't have your stud quarterback. But it's even more difficult if you don't even have some sort of consistency at the most important position in all of sports. And so I think Fangio will look back and people will look back and go, not a horrible coach, but if you don't get the most important ingredient right, you're not going to have success. And that's all ultimately what damned Vic Fangio. We'll get to the story in just a little bit more. But first, if you have not already, make sure you subscribe because we're going to have a replacements list coming out tomorrow. So you're going to want to see that. I'll tease you guys at the end of this video of who I think could be the next Broncos head coach. So hit that big red button and subscribe. That way, when we put out a video tomorrow of possible Vic Fangio replacements, you can stay in the know and see what direction Denver may be heading. Like I said, quarterback is what Fangio's demise, his downfall, his Macbeth moment, that's what was his absolute ending of the era because he never got that position correct. He had multiple starters. They showed a graphic during the broadcast yesterday, which let's talk about the game for a moment, but over 10 different starting quarterbacks in 3 seasons. When you've got that much of a revolving door at, like I said, the most important thing on the football field, no consistency, no success. But yesterday, I think what was very telling was after the game, Fangio, he said in his post-game press conference that, the difference between the Broncos and the rest of the AFC West is we don't have a superstar quarterback. And I felt like in that moment, he was sort of lobbying like, I'm a good coach, but we don't have a superstar quarterback, so we can't get very far with it. Well, Vic Fangio, I'll say this to you. 1, you went out and you picked Bridgewater. That was your pick. You're also the head coach when they drafted Drew Lock. Now, I get it. You're the coach, you're not the GM, but don't tell me you didn't have some sort of voice in the opinion of your second-round pick and at the most important position. So I'll say you went 0 for 1.5 there. I won't put all of Drew Lock on you. By the way, it looked pretty good, I'll say, last night. And then you brought in Pat Shurmur, your buddy, which was an absolute train wreck. It was a horrible decision. It was an awful offense all year long. They never had any consistency. They never had an identity. I couldn't tell you exactly in black and white what the Broncos' identity was. It was an identity of don't screw up and let's score a couple points here because the defense is already really good. But the Denver Broncos overall, looking at the past here, the last couple years, this is going to be their 5th head coach within the last 10 seasons when they make a hire soon. That's the most amount of coaches since the first 10 years of the franchise back in the 60s and 70s. They're currently in a 6-year playoff drought, which is the longest since 1976, and also, according to NFL stats, the longest drought right now of any team that has won a Super Bowl, so that's a wonderful club to be in. And since winning the Super Bowl in 2015, the Broncos are 29-58. Just a little disrespectful to a fan base that takes so much pride in being one of the best franchises in the NFL. But I want to ask this question to you guys. Do you agree with the Fangio fire? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Let me know where you stand on this. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So if YouTube puts an ad break right about now, scroll on down, give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Under Vic Fangio, we know that his defense was rock solid. It was third in points going into last night in the NFL, but the offense never made much progression. It honestly looked at points like the offense was his stepchild, and he wasn't interested in that, and he really just wanted to focus on the defense. The offense throughout 3 seasons never made much progress. Couldn't tell you what a Vic Fangio offense looked like other than not a lot of scoring going on. 2019, the average points per game was 28th in the NFL. 2020, 28th again. And this year, bumped it up to 23rd going into last night. So, very little progression, and you couldn't finish in the top half or really even close to it. You couldn't sniff 16 in your 3 years there. That's not a recipe for bring me back for a 4th season. But that was the story of the Broncos the last couple seasons. We'll get to more Fangio in just a moment, but first we got an awesome deal going on with our friends at Fanatics. Look at this dope quarter zip. It is 25% off when you go to chatsports.com/BroncosQZip. Make sure you use that link, though. Got to use the link right there. Just click on that, or go in the comments or the description of this video. Take you right over there. I know, holiday season's well over, but listen, it is not too late to get someone a birthday present, or if you just want to, love yourself a little bit. Got some extra dough from Christmas time rolled over still. Hit that big link there and get yourself a great Broncos quarter zip. I thought I was doing a sub read for a second. All right, coming up in just a moment, though. I've got my top candidates. I'm going to tease you guys a little bit. I can't show you all the goods and services. I can't just flash you guys with all my favorite candidates, but I'll show you 3 of my favorite 10 just to give you an idea of what I would like to see happen. So a little bit like a combination of what I want to see happen versus what I think Paton will see happen, what Paton will do, because I'm not picking the head coach. So you might as well have an idea of what Paton is at least looking at. But 3 candidates right here. So number 7, I've got Doug Peterson, former Eagles head coach, Super Bowl winning head coach, who I think is going to make a comeback in this coaching cycle. I don't know why he would sit out for 2 years. He's sat out this year. I guess should take some time off a little bit. But I think he'd be a great hire in the sense that he won a Super Bowl not long ago and had a bit of a falling out with the organization, which ultimately led to him getting fired, but, a fresh new spot could be good for him. Jim Harbaugh from Michigan, number 4 on my list. A lot of rumors that have come to light that have some water, hold some water, that Harbaugh may be interested, actually, in making an NFL return. Now, the 2 teams he's looked at the most are the Raiders and the Bears, or at least that's where he's rumored to the most. But the Broncos could make a good pitch to him of, we'll get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, even though he kind of shot down some trade rumors. We got tons of draft capital, got tons of cap space. Come to Denver. Let's rock and roll. And then number 2 on my list is Kellen Moore, who, look what he did last night with the Cowboys and pulled Dak in the 4th quarter and had Cooper Rush still running the offense and putting a 50-burger on the Eagles on the road. So those are 3 of my top 10 replacements. The complete list, though, is coming out tomorrow. So make sure you are subscribed. That way, when it's posted, you can watch the video and have a good idea of what direction the Broncos may be going. Now, Tom Pelissero, he had some interesting things to say. We'll show you that in a moment. But he kind of gave some inklings of what direction the Broncos may be trending, just kind of which waters are warmer than others. So here's his tweet. He put this out this morning. The Broncos became the 3rd team with the head coach vacancy, and it's an attractive one, with Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, Patriots linebacker coach Gerard Mayo, and Packers OC Nathaniel Hackett among the names to watch. So I've had Hackett high on my list of possible replacements for quite some time now. Dan Quinn, I've always had in the top 10, just had him fluctuate a little bit because he's a defensive coordinator. So I don't know if they want to go back-to-back DCs. Gerard Mayo, that would be a name I haven't heard of, at least for linked to Denver. I've heard him linked to maybe getting a promotion elsewhere, but that'd be a new one. I think he's a great player, and I know the Patriots players love him. I'll have to do my research more on him in just a moment. But who do you want the next head coach to be? Let me know in the comment section who you got. A lot of people have said, hey, can Fangio return as the defensive coordinator with the new head coach? Let me just put that idea to bed. There is no way Fangio would take a demotion and return to the team that just fired him as their head coach. That would kind of be like if you have a girlfriend and you live with your ex-boyfriend and your girlfriend. The next head coach doesn't want the old head coach hanging out in the locker room getting called, hey, coach, too. It just doesn't – that's not a good situation. But let me know who you want down below. I have full faith that George Paton will make an excellent hire. I do think that he will go out and he will get the right guy. We've seen that he's gotten the right draft picks so far. Surtain and Williams, and even some of his later picks have been solid picks. His trades, he picked up guys that, like the Rams, Kenny Young, gave up on. Stephen Weatherly, the Vikings, had no interest in, and they looked great in Denver. He's been an excellent eye for talent. I got full trust that he will make a great hire, but we'll keep our eyes peeled, and we'll keep you guys updated here on the Broncos Breakdown. We'll catch you later here on the channel.